I remember waking up, being broke, but still it wasn't breaking us. I remember why I broke the rules, 'cause I ain't really had nobody to look up to. I remember cutting class, being bad, 'cause I ain't have what them other kids had. I remember wishing that I knew my dad. Then I remember wishing I could get him back. For every night that he told me he was coming and he didn't. For every single dollar that my mom and him was missing. For everything I wanted and was told I couldn't get it. And that I had to face it, that my daddy was addicted. That's right, it wasn't easy growing up. Mama was exposing.
Look, they're dreaming. We still have to name them.
You want to name all of them right now? All right. We'll name this half Marlon Jr. and then this half Coral Jr. Okay, we're done.
I like Nemo.
Nemo? Well, we'll name one Nemo, but I'd like most of them to be Marlon Jr.
Just think in a couple of days, we're gonna be parents.
Yeah. What if they don't like me?
Marlon,
Oh, really?
there's over 400 eggs. Odds are one of them is bound to like you. What?
You remember how we met?
Well, I try not to.
Well, I remember. Excuse me, miss. Can you check and see if I have a hook in my lip?
Marlon!
Oh, you gotta look closer because it's way in here.
Get away!
Here he is. Cutie's here. Where did everybody go? Coral, get inside the house, Coral. No, Coral, don't. They'll be fine. Just get inside, you, right now. Coral! Coral? 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 There. It's okay, Daddy's here. Daddy's got you. I promise I will never let anything happen to you. Nemo.
Grew up with a father in the home, and I currently, my situation is the fact that I'm a single father and the mother is not in the home. And, so this is my dear dad's story.
We all know the stereotype, mama's baby, papa's maybe. But what about the single dads that have to do it on their own?
When I met my child's mother, our situation most definitely was not one that ended with the child. So the earlier stages, it was just more like, this was actually like my first like real pregnancy scare of just somebody's pregnant and, it's right there before me and it's like, okay, well, you going with it on the idea of, what she wants to do, because I have to tell people, like, if the girl says she wants to have a baby, like, you got to be ready. You know what I'm saying? You got to be ready to when they come. Like, so I guess the story and the anticipation of anybody's story is just what happens when the baby comes. In the same hospital in which where my son was born is the same place in which his mother passed. So it was times where, I mean, like, she had to be, it was times in which she was moving to different floors, and, you know what I'm saying, just because she was being cleared to go to different floors. She was doing better, and, you know, she was walking around, and, you know, she was able to, you know, we both were able to go to the nursery and see Nick, and, you know, but it was just, we didn't get to do that often. It wasn't like a daily regimen of her being able to get up and go. So, like, that was something unfortunate, like, because I'm literally watching, like, a disconnect kind of happen, because I know when it's just me, but I know why it's just me. It's because she can't, you know, she can't. You get what I'm saying? So that bond was created in those moments because I had to be double strong. I couldn't sit there and be weak. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was times where I've had my moments, but it ain't about me no more. I know I can be strong for my son. My son was in the NICU, and she, you know, like, she was in intensive care, and my son, so I'm going, like, you know, third floor, like, just going up and down these floors, like, because there's so much going on in the hospital, you know, right. And it just was it was a blessing just to see it, because to me, it was almost, I'm looking at myself, the story of my sister and I being premature, looking at my now son, my first child is in the same hospital in which he's premature, and, you know, like, I've never seen a baby so small until then. Like, I remember literally telling Nick in the incubator, like, yeah, you're gonna be, like, in Europe for summer schools, like maybe in middle school or high school. Like, these are the things I'm telling my son as he's, you know, just being born. I expect for me to be able to let him experience that, you know, and I did learn in life. Come on. Yeah. What we drawing? Okay. Pressure is important. That's important. A little light pressure, more pressure. Yeah. When Tamika passed away, it was just me versus, like, I just had to become, like, super parent. Like, I just had to be double great. Like, that's how I always kind of felt. But it just was, man, it was stressful. It was stressful for sure. Like, there was no quick, all right, I got this and let's do it. Let's get up. It was just like I really was depressed. Like, I had mentally in my mind, I'm already mentally 18 years from now trying to explain why my son don't have a mother. You know what I'm saying? Trying to, you know, like, that's where I'm at with it. I'm just that in depth because my fears and my insecurities came out more, not when I was thinking about myself, but more when I'm thinking because my son don't have that balance and he gonna wonder why. Life as a single father is great because I have a great support system that helps me. I have people that literally look out for me and they show love, and because I need help. Anybody raising a kid needs help. That's why, you know, so in my mind it's like, if I can work, I can try to see him, and, you know, you just balance it out as much as you can, because you need your time to yourself, you need your time to your son, you need to build that relationship, and at the same time he needs to be around his family on the Tamika side too, you know, because I always think to myself, like, we have to keep that spirit alive. So he has that relationship, you know, and I always love that because I never wanted to just have my son just take him away or move somewhere. You know, like, he has a home here and he has family here, so I don't want to just take him away just because I personally want to just go over. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like I say, it's about him. It's not about me.
Growing up, Nick's father wasn't around, giving him very little understanding on what a father was. Life's irony is having things that hurt you the most be the same things that allow you to grow.
Like, one idea of not having my dad around, not having a relationship with my father, you know, not having that relationship makes me want to just completely, you know, be the opposite of that with my son. You know, like, I always wanted to be able to have a son and be a father figure. So, you know, my goal is to be someone in which he can look up to. You know, like, I can look up to my dad in certain aspects and certain things in which I've learned from him directly, indirectly. But I just want to be involved in my son's life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be rooted in his consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you parenting, I guess, is. Because, you know, you're not going to be there forever. So I want to be able to put things in him. And, at the end of the day, he's my son. This is my little legacy. So, he's that important to me. Where it's not about me, it's about him. So it's just trying to show that by making sure he's able to learn and experience. What does it mean to be a father? It's accepting your responsibilities is one. As a man to lead, because the father, the title itself is you the father, you the dad. So you now are responsible for someone else. So you're passionate, like you're everything you think you are, and if you're not, you gonna fake it because you a daddy now. It's because you got somebody watching you. So you're gonna fake it. If you scared, I guarantee you're not gonna let your son know you scared. So you got that encourage. You got that, I call it daddy strength. I be talking something like, I got daddy strength now. Y'all better leave me alone. Like, I'm a daddy. I got daddy strength now. But it's that invisible thing that push you to just want to do more and be greater. The idea of having a child, like, nobody's ready. There are no books. You can have the experience of maybe a younger sibling, younger people. Those individuals have a different outlook on kids because they had to raise kids at early ages. But for people who don't think that you can't do it, don't think that like you can do it. Don't neglect the child. Don't run away from opportunities to build, and don't be selfish. That's it. Don't be selfish. And just push your child to be better, because even if you never had you didn't have the opportunities that might come to your child that you never experienced, don't be selfish and limit their opportunities and their experience, because that's something that you didn't have the opportunity to do. Push your child to see these things, try these foods, see these places. Don't verbally, just because you let them do it, but you think you smart. Don't verbally abuse them. Just let them experience it for their own reality. Because if you think you had the opportunity to, but fear pushed you to maybe do something else. So don't limit your child based off experiences. Continue to push them and see them flourish. And be a good parent, lead by example. Because they're looking at you, they listen to everything you're saying you're doing, but most importantly, everything that you're doing. So lead by example and just try to be a good parent if you can.
Father factor in teen pregnancy and sexual activity. Being raised by a single mother raises the risk of teen pregnancy. Marrying with less than a high school degree and forming a marriage where both partners have less than a high school degree.
Right here. Wait a minute. Where you want to go?
I don't know, someplace from before.
You gotta close your eyes.
You close your eyes. I want to see.
All right, come on, we'll push it together. You gotta close your eyes, close your eyes. It takes a few seconds. Oh my goodness. What? Open, open, open.
Whoa. What is it?
Dinosaurs.
Where?
You don't see all these dinosaurs? Look around. Look at all these dinosaurs. You see them?
Yeah.
Hey, come on, come on, come on. Wait, watch out.
What is it?
Don't step in the fire. We're cavemen. And we need this fire because there's no electricity and it's cold out here, okay?
Watch out! Watch
Whoa,
out!
oh my goodness. A T-Rex. That's a T. Get your stuff. Get your stuff. Get it. We gotta find someplace safe.
What?
We need a cave.
A cave?
We gotta find a cave. Come on. Come on, come on. Wait, watch your back. Here it is. Here's a cave. Come on. Right here, right here. Go, go, go. Get it, get it. Hurry, hurry, hurry.
Are we safe?
Yeah, I think so.
After a few years of being married, my wife and I decided we wanted to start a family. And so we started trying to have a child. My wife wasn't getting pregnant, and then when she did, we had a miscarriage, and it happened again after that. So along the way, we adopted once, and then we adopted again. And 9 years after trying, we had our first biological child, and then we had another after that. So now we have 4 boys, and this is my Dear Dad story.
Many people dream of getting married and starting a family. For some, it seems like a simple task, but for Matt and his wife, the journey would be a long one.
I always knew I wanted to be a dad, and so it was hard to not be able to have a child at first, and it was hard to have the joy of having a pregnancy and then losing that child. At the same time, my wife and I had always wanted to adopt and have biological children, so we adopted in that process. And it was just a side-by-side joy of having a child through adoption, and still the underlying pain of losing one child and then another in miscarriages. When we got the call about my first son being born, it was like my wife's water had broken or something, even though she wasn't the pregnant one. We got the call and we had to hurry up, buy tickets, go to the airport. We flew all the way to Oklahoma and got to the hospital by the time he was 7 hours old. So he's been with us since then. My wife was adopted too and grew up with her biological brother who was adopted, and so it was just a normal thing for her. When she was little, if people would tease her about being adopted, she would always come back by saying, "My parents chose me, your parents just got stuck with you." And so maybe we'll pass that one down to our kids too.
After several years of trying to create a child, Matt and his wife's prayers were finally answered.
After 9 years of trying, I actually had a child, a biological child. I can't explain what that was like, to see all those years of waiting come to this moment, and I caught him coming out, and just looking at that little miracle was amazing. It's hard to explain to people who haven't adopted the dynamics of having adopted children and biological children. We actually, day-to-day life, I'll forget which one's adopted and which one's not in things. At the doctor, they'll ask about, is this in your family, this medical thing in your family history? And I'll be telling them, yes, it is or isn't, and then realize that's not, those genes aren't passed down to this kid, or the other way around. All my kids just feel like my kids. And so, however they join the family through birth or adoption, it's just part of the family.
He's up! He's going!
You got it. Keep going. Growing up, I had a good relationship with my dad. He was not a man of a lot of words about it. He wasn't the kind that would just, every time he see me, say, "I love you, son." But he showed it in the way he lived. He was always there for me. I knew I could trust him. I knew I could lean on him. And whenever something important was going on, I knew he'd be there. And if I could be like my dad, I'd be proud to be like that. The effect of having my dad in my life, I don't even know how I'd be a dad without seeing his example. And the more I go into being a dad, the more I find myself thinking, what would my dad do in this situation? And what did he do with me that worked or even that didn't work? But I know that having a father changed the way I'm a dad for sure, in a really good way. And I don't know, I can't imagine trying to be this without having that example in my life. Nice shot. I got 4 boys, and so it's a lot of energy in this house. And so for the long winters, we built the basement into a playroom, and actually my dad came and helped with that. I mean, he was the main one that built it, and but we turned it into this crazy fun playroom with a slide and monkey bars and a climbing wall, and the boys can just be kind of crazy, wrestle around and play, and hopefully have a fun place to grow up.
Although Matt believes he is a great father, there are obstacles that he faces every day that he seeks to overcome. A white man raising children of color.
I feel like I have a real steep learning curve as a white man raising children of color. All my kids are a blend of black and white, and in different mixes, and so I have to figure out as a white man what it is to try to guide these young men in a world where it's hard to be a black man, and so it keeps me humble, keeps me praying that God would show me how to do that, because it's beyond me, and also looking to other people for advice, other dads, other strong black men in my life that can help me. The main goal I have as a dad is to let my kids know that they're loved. You know, I think that foundation of them knowing they're loved is going to be the basis of their security, of everything they do. I'm not a perfect dad, I know that. I lose my patience with my kids. I make mistakes. But the one thing I want to be able to say at the end of the day is that my kids know that I love them and that they won't doubt that. Being a father changes everything. You know, it makes you think about what's really important, changes your focus. You just can't be living just for yourself anymore, because these young people are looking to you. You know, I remember hearing President Obama say that the most important job he has is being a father. And I think all of us, you know, guys always want to be someone important, to do something important. And if the President of the United States says that's his most important job, you know, I'm not going to do anything more important than him. And I realize this is my chance, more than any other way, to change the world, to invest in these young men and see them go out and hopefully be the same, be dads that invest in their kids.
Father factor in education. Father involvement in schools is associated with the higher likelihood of a student getting mostly A's. This was true for fathers in biological parent families, for stepfathers, and for fathers heading single-parent families.
You knew my father?
Correction, I know your father.
I hate to tell you this, but he died a long time ago.
Nope, wrong again.
He's alive, and I'll show him to you. You follow old Rafiki, he knows the way. Come on. Don't dawdle. Hurry up!
Hey, whoa, wait.
Come on, come on!
Would you slow down?
Stop! Look down there.
That's not my father. It's just my reflection.
No. Look harder. You see, he lives in you.
Father?
Simba, you have forgotten me.
No. How could I?
You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me. Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life.
How can I go back? I'm I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are. You are my son and the one true king. Remember who you are.
No! Please! Don't leave me!
Remember.
Father!
Remember.
Don't leave me.
I lost my dad at 6 months when I was a baby. He got shot. The bullet went through him, went through me. I'm lucky to be here. I love him for that. He saved my life. In order for me to have birth out here and having a son. This is my dear dad's story.
Curly's father was gunned down while holding him in his arms. The bullet entered through his father's back and subsequently hit Curly in his back, killing his father and leaving 6-month-old Curly in critical condition in the hospital for months.
The one memory I remember about my dad before he deceased was him holding me and just mumbling. Really, because you know, at 6 months you can't really tell what's really what. You can just see. And that's the only man that I saw. I've been growing up on bad terms, in and out of jail, not going to school, smoking, drinking. When I was supposed to be there with my father, I ain't had him to call on or to show me what to do, what's not to do. You know what I'm saying? I just grew up with a female, a woman, that was like my father, that is my father still to this day. Growing up without my dad, through high school, middle school, elementary, it's been hectic. Cause some guys know how it is, some guys don't, like me. You know what I'm saying? It's hard not to see your father help you with your homework, pick you up from school, take you to your dance, to your prom, you know what I'm saying? That really hurted me, not to see my father there. You know what I'm saying? When like he got taken away from me, it was crazy. Like it was real crazy. After all that, high school, all that, I went to job court, saw some older guys. They tell me about how their fathers was, how their fathers beat on them and stuff like, you know what I'm saying? All type of stuff their fathers did. And I looked at them like I wish I had a father that I can tell somebody about, you know what I'm saying? So, but my father getting taken away from me, it's been real struggle.
While Curly had to experience loss at such a young age, it wouldn't be his last. As a promise he made to himself to keep his father's legacy alive, he then named his first child Curly B. Harris IV. But the fourth never had a chance to experience life.
My father's name was Curly B. Harris II. My grandfather's name was Curly B. Harris I. That's what made me the third. As I came home from job court, I decided I wanted to have a child and named Curly B. Harris IV, yeah, which I did, but he didn't survive. So I got him cremated and everything, kept the name. When I told myself about my deceased child and how I'm gonna have my second child, I told myself I was gonna be a good father and I'm always be there. So when I had Kayshawn Lamar Harris, I watched him come out, I took him home. You know, the mother, she was there. She fed him, I fed him, I'm putting him to sleep. She was in and out. I was always there, 24/7 like now.
Grab it, put your feet up. Grab, put your feet up. Grab, put your feet up. Grab it. Put your feet up. Grab it. Make sure your feet on the block. Make sure your feet on the block. Hold on. Come on down.
As he getting older and older, I never missed a day. Never missed neither one of his birthdays. I watch him walk. I watch him ride his bike. I watch him go to school. It's like he's my child. And I'm his.
Curly was so determined to never let his shadow leave his side that he filed for full custody of his son.
So I went down to the federal court to get custody of my child, in which I do have custody on one, of being a good parent, a good father, a single father at that. Just how my father got taken away from me. So as I goes down there, sign paperwork, show them paperwork, show them how I'm living, everything is good. So now that I got custody, he's never going anywhere.
Come on.
Give me your feet. Come on, put your feet up there. With my dad, I wish I would went to Disneyland, arcades, movie shows, water parks. Just a lot of adventures I would like to do with my dad. Wish I would have did with my dad if he would never got taken away from me. The things that I can't do with my dad, I just thank God that I can do with my son now, Kayshawn Lamar Harris. I just thank God that I could just wake up without no enemies coming to take it away his father, you know. So I just thank God for that. I just wish the things that I could have did with my father would have happened. Ain't no telling how things would have been.
My grandfather never spoke one note out of tune against my father. During his last 179 days, I watched cancer fry my grandfather's southern soul like acid being poured on the moon, unfolding his hard-fought manhood every 10 seconds. It was as if Father Time had given up on him. And you know what? It was more beautiful than it was sad, because what was sad was the way my own father fingered the trigger of a sawed-off shotgun, letting that dark, erotic blackness seduce him, and just thinking that death was his utopia. Now, my father had his issues, and I'd be lying if I told you I thought more about growing old than making love raw to one of hell's angels. So while some said that suicide was selfish and self-serving, I reminded them never to judge a man's nightmares and demons until you've tasted the blood and saliva on his shield and sword, till you've sweated his battles and choked on his dirt. My grandfather never spoke one note out of tune against my father, because he knew that all men were composed a little differently, because some men fighting, some men just try to hold on, and some men just wither like pine trees with roots too tired to run any deeper. He said, Khan, the problem is that most people live life like their favorite song sung badly, because they memorize the good parts and they sing out loud the chorus, but the real message and meaning to the words of the song, they lip sync poorly, they run through too fast, they don't listen. And maybe my father, maybe he just lived for the hooks and the breakdowns without never listening to the words. So my grandfather would hum Mahalia Jackson slow on his way home from church, whistle the blues on his way to work, and cried Sam Cooke silently when he found my mother's skin bare under my father's fingernails. And at that point, he didn't care if my father had nightmares or demons, didn't care that he didn't understand music. He took away daddy's little girl. Now, what would you do? My grandfather never spoke one note out of tune against my father. So my grandfather's bones brittled and the skin hung from his bones like dead leaves on a great elm. I sung. And when his hands that once could fix anything became rotting stems too feeble to feed himself, I pushed back my tears and I sung louder. And when I wake up every morning and I see my grandfather's and my father's obituaries etched on both sides of my mirror, I'm reminded of who I am and how there will always be reasons to quit, but even more reasons to sing. And when my 7-year-old was 2 and I heard her sing Barney for the very, very, very first time, I looked up at the sky and clenched clouds with my fists and yelled to God how beautiful life can be when you're listening. My relationship with suicide is a lot of people are always surprised that I never had any kind of animosity or hard feeling towards my father. You know, that he killed my mother, I never had any kind of hatred. And most of that was because I was never raised to hate him. I was never raised to not like him, you know. And it also gave me a somewhat complex about suicide, you know, because I don't know what goes on in someone's soul or in someone's heart to make them take their own life, but I guess it's each his own. You know, I've never judged anyone when I read stories about this person was getting bullied or this person was depressed and they took their own life. You know, if anything, my father helped me not judge people, because not being able, though I never knew him, I never met him, being able to not blame him and still love him, you know, for bringing me into this world and being my father for the year or so he was, you know, I don't hate him, you know, and, you know, it's something that I guess I think about a decent amount as far as, you know, what kind of that father would he be in, but I really, really wonder what kind of demons, you know, I wonder what was tormenting him, you know, what kind of clamps, what kind of chains was wrapped around his soul and his heart that pushed him over that proverbial ledge, you know, what had him, was he trapped in the corner? Was it health? Was it a financial issue? Was my mother going to leave him? What was there to where maybe his only way out was killing my mother and then taking his own life? That's the kind of stuff I think about, you know. And I think about it because we're all in corners, you know, where a lot of us are in binds and in situations in life we didn't think we would be in. You know, we lose people we didn't think we would lose. We have financial hardships dumped in our laps. And it always seems like the only way out is like, okay, I just wish I wasn't alive right now. You know, I'm not sure if I've ever felt like that. I may have, but maybe only for a second. But, you know, and feeling like that, to take those steps to where you end your life and, you know, you murder the person, your wife is closest to you. You know, what's inside of you that takes you there? You know, I've explored that through poems, you know, I've imagined it, you know, I just wish I could get in his head and just see what's there. And also it may answer a lot of questions about some of the things that go on in my head and some of the thoughts I've had, you know. It's, like I said, it's not necessarily tough to deal with, but it's a lot to think about. Because every time I click news story headline and there's a murder suicide, you know, husband and wife thing, I cringe. Because what happened to my parents in '77, that was not the normal thing, you know. And I just pray for the kids involved, and I pray that with the afterlife, you know, that man has, like my father, has done that and killed himself. I pray maybe he's found some sort of release or something, escape in his afterlife. Because again, most people commit suicide to escape, right? Maybe my father just wanted to escape. Who knows?